What separates the founders who stall from the ones who build unstoppable momentum? So it's not just the brilliance of the idea, it's the ability to execute, iterate, and get into the right rooms fast. So, welcome back to Voices of Impact, where we explore leadership beyond inspiration and into aligned action, strategic execution, and real world impact. So, today I'm excited to welcome Mary Scott for a conversation grounded in something we both deeply understand, right? So, from idea to traction. So the practical strategies and mindset shifts that drive momentum, especially for entrepreneurs. So Mary is an award-winning filmmaker turned entrepreneur who's deeply committed to helping startups become wildly successful. So with roots in media in New York, she's often 2 degrees of separation from whoever you need to meet. And who knows about nearly every industry to make things interesting. So important to create that impact. So access to the right rooms, which is obviously something I also learned, can change everything. And strategy without conviction stalls, and conviction without strategy scatters. So Mary's work lives at the intersection of practical resources, powerful networks, and the mindset shifts founders need to move from concept to traction. So all these aspects are very important. So, this episode is for every founder who knows they have something valuable, they want to start something, but needs the clarity, the strategy, and courage to move it forward. So, welcome, Mary. So glad to have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Sheena. It's nice to be here. I hope we can help people be wildly successful.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And they need people like you, right? So, you're already successful. So, love to hear your insights. So, tell us about your journey from award winning filmmaker to a startup advisor, which is inspiring. So, what through line connects these two worlds together?
Okay, as a video production company, I didn't want my customers to pay for my services. I wanted their customers to pay for my services. So I didn't just make good videos for business to business or business to consumer. I also helped the companies I was working for use the videos and know where to market them and know how to place them so that they would get business from them. So in that process, I learned about giving a lot of business advice. And when I moved from New York to St. Louis, I discovered this fabulous ecosystem for startup businesses and just decided, hey, this is more fun. This is to be in the room where it's happening, right on the cutting edge of startups are going to change the world. And I get to be there at the beginning.
Yes, amazing. I love that. And yes, it's actually fun building entrepreneurship because even when I was a founder 4 years ago, I was like, oh my God, I have to take a risk. I've never done it. And I'm the first entrepreneur. And I was like, this is so tense. There's so much tension in the room, but it's actually fun, right? When you have that, when you actually aligns with your strengths and, you just put yourself out there, right? So that's what it's all about. And it's okay. So you talk about improv. So you use improv to improve business. How did improv become part of your methodology?
It's the yes and concept. So there's more than one way to solve a problem. There's more than one way to look at a situation. And being able to do improvisational things and just open your mind to all kinds of creative possibilities makes it really a lot more fun to solve problems than to just feel like, "Oh, I have this problem I have to solve. What am I going to do?"
Right, exactly. I love how you combine that improv and your filmmaking to that. That's amazing. That's so unique, right? That's so unique and powerful. So you call yourself a resource wrangler and funding finder. So where did that identity come from and what fuels that urgency to get something off a founder's plate today?
Some of that comes from being a reporter.
Mhm.
So being a really super curious person, I want to know everything about everything. And I used to love reading books all the time, but talking to people and getting their insights on stuff or getting their take on stuff and hearing what's exciting to them between coming from New York and getting totally Zoomified through COVID and that kind of stuff makes connections in ways that people don't expect. So when I meet a startup, I'm in a unique position to say, I know somebody in Philadelphia you should talk to.
Right,
Or, somebody else I know is working on something similar.
right.
Or you should get a hold of Bonnie Halper because she knows all the investors.
Yes. Yes, yes, absolutely. It's all about the networking, who you know, referrals, and that's like the very important as a founder because I can relate. I didn't have that as a founder. A lot of people don't know where to go to find that, but that's where you want to put yourself out there and have connect. We say networking as like ask the questions. It's but just having a coffee chat with someone, having groups. I know we connected through like LinkedIn, other aspects. There's a group that I'm in with all the female entrepreneurs, and we just had simple coffee chats. And they were like, it just turned into an opportunity, right? So, just like you said, being open, going with the flow, having fun, and being more present. That's very important. I love how that kind of, ties into your identity. It shows, right? So, it's
Yeah.
amazing. So,
Doing a lot
going
of listening helps too.
Yes, yes. I'm a huge listener. I love people talking. That's why I started this podcast is like I'm just listening to your stories and not only, I'm also learning from you guys as well. So it's very fun. So going into this question it just really like I just love because it's so important at the same time. So you said only a small percentage of startups truly succeed. So what separates that 5% from the rest? So what would make a founder really stand out? So, yeah, in this world.
First of all, they have to actually have validated their idea. They
Mhm.
need to be very passionate about it, but they have to be grounded in reality. Sort of
Right.
feet on the ground, head in the clouds.
Yeah.
That's a nice combination.
Yeah.
If you have a co-founder, that makes it even more likely that you're going to succeed because if you think about the big, big companies, there's somebody that does the work and there's somebody that does the song and dance part of it. So you
Mhm.
have Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs.
Right.
That's the most common example.
Yeah.
People also need to be okay with not just working in their comfort zone.
Right.
The example I give is my husband was a TV cameraman in New York and he loved shooting. He loved capturing those stories on camera. But he spent 80% of his work time driving. And
Mm,
that's very similar to the entrepreneurial journey. You're going to spend 20% doing the work your company does and 80% marketing, back office accounting, organizing your teams and that kind of stuff. So you also have to be really, really comfortable delegating. People like to be in control and they think they have to wear all the hats, but you're
right.
actually much better off if you can share your hats with other people. I tell entrepreneurs you always need 3 folks on your team.
Mhm.
You need the marketing person, you
Yeah.
need an accountant, and you need a lawyer because the marketing person helps you make money, the accountant helps you keep most of it, and the lawyer stops you from losing it.
Right. Right. Exactly.
You must have all of that covered. So those are the folks who succeed and the folks who can pivot when they have to, okay, admit that they were wrong, that they spent a lot of money doing something that didn't work out, and that's not an expense, it's tuition.
Right. Right.
And if you've got that kind of a mindset and you can still power through, 80% is showing up.
Yes. Yes. That's a huge point. Like when I started my business, I was like doing the other directions, 80% doing and 20% marketing, right? So, and no one taught me that until now. And it's really, like you said, showing up, right? And showing up, even though it might not work, you might not get the results immediately. Obviously, like we think we go into as a founder thinking like, oh, the revenue, we're going to hit it immediately. This is going to be fun.
Mhm.
It's easy. Actually, the truth is it's not, right? And you're going to have times when you're not going to get results quickly. You're not going to find the right people. The clients will come and will go, but it's really about how you take it, right? Your mindset, that shift, following your intuition, following your mission, and really focusing on that, your why, right? That's what makes you truly succeed and be that on that top five.
That's true. And guaranteed that meeting you don't want to go to is the one you have to go to.
Right, exactly, exactly. And I love how you talked about the main foundational elements of the team. And I want people to kind of think about this ahead of time because I just looking at team like 5 years later. But if I looked at it before, like 2 years in, you would kind of it would help you scale faster. So it's important to learn these things like beforehand, right? And not like 5 or 6 years down the roads. Really, really know your business plan, your foundational elements, and what aligns with you. You don't have to do the whole bro marketing if it doesn't work for you. If that doesn't energize you, you don't have fun, you don't have to do that, right? But understand you, understand what you stand for first before you get to the foundational piece or the strategy piece, right? Like you said, and
Some
making
of
sure.
that is you can save a lot of time and frustration. If you're less familiar with an industry you want to get into,
Yeah,
go follow somebody around for a day.
exactly. Yeah,
Go offer to buy someone lunch and just pick their brains about their industry and how day to day life is. Because the more you know about what you're getting into,
right.
the better prepared you'll be.
Exactly. Exactly. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs or founders just stick to the whole like scarcity. They have that scarcity mindset where, like, and I've had people, especially in the tech world, where was like a co founder for a couple of startups, and they're like, we have to do quick. We have to like quickly do this and, like, scale. But we never did that market research, never had the conversation. So that's very important is really knowing your market. And of course, like, you are different from your competitors, but having that competitor analysis and seeing your offer. Where's that blue ocean offer? What's that positioning, that 5% positioning? Why do you want to do this? Right. So, what's that unique value proposition? So, all of these things, having that foundational piece set in place will take you far. But if you're going to skip it and go direct to the strategy, it's going to fall apart for sure. So, that's something that I've learned.
And
So,
the techies, you have to know when to stop tweaking.
this is so
You have to
important.
get
Yeah.
something out there
Right.
that you can add to later, but don't keep tweaking. It's just because
Yeah.
that's your comfort zone and you're just having
Yeah.
such a good time coding.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had this conversation with, my other business partner, and we just kind of kept tweaking the designs. And I was like, just stick with it and go with it, right? Just have something in place and go with it. And it really comes from, the place of perfectionism. I'm guilty of this. I've just talked to a lot of women who are guilty of this, that the website has to be perfect and the elements have to be there and the messaging has to speak to the audience. Have something and then refine. Like you said, I iterate late. But the only way you're going to know is what the audience is going to say. So does it speak to them? Does it not speak to them? What are they saying, right? So like you said, don't keep tweaking. If it's good enough, it's good enough. Like if it's 60%, okay, like just go with the
Go
next.
with it because you're going to have a small audience to begin with.
Right.
So that's sort of a natural test market, which is really helpful. So you're not spending all kinds of time and energy and money doing something you may not need to be doing.
Right. Exactly. Absolutely. And going into funding and getting unstuck. So, when a startup stalls, what first intervention produces the fastest shift?
Step back, breathe, take a day off,
Yeah.
anything to clear your head. If you know you're stuck, go clear your head, go do something totally unrelated to your business.
Right.
And
Right.
then potentially check with a mentor,
Yeah.
check with a friend, check with somebody else in the business that you trust, and just be brutally honest. Am I
Right.
really stuck? Is this a real problem or is this something that I've created for myself?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I do agree. Slowing down, and I love how you said that, just take a step back and do something else. Because for the first reaction we get is like panic, like, oh my God, fight or flight mode. And that comes into the nervous system regulation that I've had conversations with. It's just instead of reacting, taking a step back and just process, okay, this is what happened. It's not anyone's fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
And it happens. Everyone is going to have this challenge. If it stalls, it's fine. It's stuck. But like
Yeah,
to your point, where is it coming from? What's the root cause, right? And asking a
exactly.
mentor is so important. And I want to emphasize this
Yeah.
because founders, I've had this problem, and we're going to go into money mindset in a minute, like in a couple of minutes. We have this money mindset like, should I invest in a mentor? Oh my God, it's $3,000. It's so expensive. Let me try doing everything on my own. I've been there, done that. And I realized it didn't get me anywhere. I was going in loops, right? So it just, the foundation fell, and we kind of relate this to the house analogy. So if the house has to have the foundation, the bricks, and then you can't build on it, if you try to build on it, like it's gonna fall, right? The whole house, right? So you need the foundation set, but the only way you're gonna learn is to get a mentor to
Mm.
walk you through those times and hold you accountable during those times when you're stuck. So absolutely. And I love how you answered that. So thank you for sharing because it is a huge challenge, a real challenge every founder is going to face even later on when
Mhm.
you're a CEO and years later, it's always the same thing.
It's also nice to have like an accountability buddy,
Yeah.
somebody who's not in your industry that you
Oh,
can just kind of check in with
yeah.
on a regular basis. What are you plans for today? What are my plans for today? What we intend to accomplish and what we said we were going to do yesterday, whether we did it or not. That kind of stuff, and you can give each other grace. I know you wanted to get 2 contracts out yesterday, but your kid got sick at school, so you got points for taking care of your kid, and that
Right.
contract will get out tomorrow. Because unless you are a neurosurgeon or a cardiologist, no decision needs to be made instantly.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And going into the I've had so many accountability buddies, and it was really like I was part of a mastermind for 2 months, and we just held each other accountable. Like, every week, what's going on? What are our strengths? What are our shortcomings? Right? That's how you really improve and work on those challenges. Look at those patterns that keep repeating, right? And then going into that next question of the delegation piece. So, why do founders struggle to delegate quickly? And what mindset shift unlocks that?
Well, it's the nature of entrepreneurship that you want to be in control of things.
Yeah.
The people who are born entrepreneurs have to do it themselves. They're
Right.
unemployable, which is why they start their own business.
Yeah.
They have to do it themselves. They feel the need to be tightly controlled over
Right.
every aspect. And this product, this concept, it's their baby, and
Yes.
they're taking
Yeah.
such good care of it.
Right. Right.
And as any good parent knows, at some point you have to let it learn for itself, and you need to let it get hurt but not injured, and you need to let it go and
Yes.
have a life of its
Yes.
own.
Yeah.
But learning how to delegate and noticing how much less stress you feel when something comes off your plate,
Right.
you have to be notice that feeling
Yes. Yes.
because that makes it easier to want to achieve that same feeling again by delegating something else.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I can relate to everything. So I just hired a team, like a few team members, and I was like, should I do? Because you know how like some founders come in and they're just like, yeah, but I don't know if it's gonna help me or it's money, But like you said, it's we think about it from logic aspect of it, but when you look at the ROI and how would I feel if I took all this off my plate? And a responsibility, and like you'll just feel this a sigh of relief. When I did that, there was a sigh of relief like a
Sure.
past week, and I just had my VA do something. I was like, thank you. Like I literally thanked my team members. And I felt like it wasn't about the money, it wasn't about anything else. It was just like, especially women. As
Mhm.
women, we take on a lot of responsibilities and burdens. Like you said, I always tell this to my partner, like, this is my baby. Like, I'm taking care of it like my kid, and I never let it go. And I was like, I need to let it go, like you said. And sometimes even like outcomes, we're so focused on, did we get that strategy call? Did we get that client? But just let it go, right? You need to have a back end structure and delegation in place, but at the same time, have fun. Like you said, have fun, have a community set in place, have more connections, right? And those things are important. It's just really the balance. So I love how you shared all of that. And that analogy just probably relates to so many female
It
entrepreneurs, right?
does. Also, if you're hiring someone to do a process,
Yeah.
let them ask you questions. Let them figure out how to get it done in their own way before you go and impose your system.
Mm,
Because you may know your perfect way of getting something done, but they
right.
might have a better idea, number
True.
one. And number two, if they don't, if you've given them a shot at doing it their way, and then you come in with your system that's a little easier, it's more acceptable to them.
Yes. Yes. That's a huge, very, very significant point Because I think, like, as founders, entrepreneurs, we have this, like, I wouldn't say it's like an ego-driven thing, but we just want to control and impose it on them. But like you said, let them bring their ideas. I even told my team, like, I want you to take the ownership, right? And bring your ideas to the table. I'm happy to like be flexible. And it worked, right? I took her idea for a few automations and I was like, this is better. It's more efficient, right? So also having entrepreneurs just be more open to different things, right? And I that comes under control. Just let it go. If there's someone who can do something better than you can, and it's not your zone of genius, let them do it. So, because like for example, like tech backend system automations are not my zone of genius. I delegated it, and they had a better aspect of it and how they did it and how they structured. And I was like, go for it. Like I'm not stopping you. I love the fact that you're making it as long as it's more efficient, right? So absolutely. And going into this question, which is important, is what role does role modeling play in startup culture?
It's good to have role models for how to approach something,
Yeah.
not necessarily how to do something.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's good to look at a lot of different role models so you can like pick the best aspects from each one.
Right.
There's a thing about I don't want to grow up to be exactly like my mother. Well,
Mhm.
my mother had some good qualities that I do want to emulate, and then there are others I don't.
Right.
And entrepreneurs, founders can look at other founders with a similar eye. There are things that you want to emulate, there are things you do admire. There are things that just are totally irrelevant to what you're doing.
Mhm. Right.
And be okay with your decision today. You can change your mind 3 weeks from now,
Right.
but be okay with your decision for today.
Right. Exactly. And like I love how you said there are different types of role models. Everyone brings their own perspectives to the table. And I do agree there's some things about my parents which I love and I took that from them and which things I don't, right? But whatever you value, take that from each person and learn from them. And if it inspires, bring that to the table and then carry that forward, right? And help kind of, yeah, first you want to learn from them, but also carry it forward to the next generation. That's what this is all about, right? As entrepreneurs, we forget about our why and our bigger picture, our mission, and our legacy that we also learn from the role models. Like there are role models. We want to be a role model too. And then we're role model to the next generation. So it's like a ripple effect. It's a legacy thing, right? So like, I didn't have role models growing up, honestly, because no one ever told me to do this and do that and be an entrepreneur and how to be successful. So I had to learn on my own. Plus, I did have mentors, and I also had male mentors versus female and two different lens. I've got to tell you. So my male mentor, we do similar things, but it was always like push harder, get those like sales calls, whereas female mentors are more like, hey, you need to slow down and get some clarity. So you need both types as mentioned. So there's no like one role model, but learn from everyone if you can. So absolutely. And going back now into money mindset. So this has been something that I struggled with many times and I finally got to this. And a lot of women of color, anyone, any woman or men, or how does money mindset sabotage fundraising or pricing? And how would you overcome that if they really want to really like achieve abundance? And I'm saying like K months. They're like, I want to be that millionaire, but sometimes we don't have the capacity for that. So how does that money mindset sabotage it?
Some of it has to do with what kind of life do you want?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not so much the money as the quality of
Right.
life. And
Right.
when you have a pretty good handle on what kind of life you want, then it's okay, how much money is it going to take to get there? And a lot of entrepreneurs have more than one idea, and I tell them to make your list of all your ideas. We're not going to throw anything out, just make the list. And then go down the list honestly. Which one of these is going to make me the most money the fastest? That's the one you do first. Then you go
Exactly.
back to your list. Which one of these is going to make me the happiest? It's the most cool, the most fun thing to do. That's the one you do second. And you can potentially go money, happy down your list.
Right. Right.
But a money mindset is very personal thing. There
Yeah.
are folks, the vast majority of entrepreneurs want to get customers, make enough money for a comfortable living, and retire. They're not looking to scale. They don't care about the millions and billions. They just want to have made some kind of positive impact in the community, earn a decent living, and retire.
Hmm.
80% of entrepreneurs are never going to go for investors
Yeah.
for that reason. And that's how this country, this world actually works, is
Right.
the little ideas that create big, wonderful communities.
Yeah. Right.
And that's perfectly fine. As long as you're happy with your life,
Yes. Yeah.
money can avoid unhappiness to some extent, but it can't buy happiness.
Right. Exactly. Perfectly said. Very well said. And there are times, and I want to say how, like, there are two different types of people, like you said. There are ones that just want a comfortable life and just have an impact. And that's absolutely fine. Right. And there's other people who are like, yes, I also want that $1 million thing. Startup idea, that's also amazing as well. So both are really successful. There's not like this person's more successful. Because I know I get people come to me saying like, "Yeah, I just wanna feel comfortable," but that doesn't mean I'm successful, and that's not true as a startup. Like, you can have both, and or I've had people, including me, who, like, wanna have a mission, wanna make an impact to community, but you also want the abundance, you also want the millions. So it's not the or. You can have both. If you want this or that, that's great, but I also wanna say that you can have both, right? So,
And
it's
even
very
Oprah recently pointed out that it's not how much you're worth, it's
yeah,
how many lives you've touched.
exactly, exactly. And like you said, it is personal because a lot of it comes from family, generational trauma, like conditioning with the whole money mindset. So you have to see where it's coming from. And also, like, yeah, what it really means to you. So, for example, for me, it's money is like gen wealth, for the next generation. And so, what does it really mean to you? So, you have to define what that looks like financially, right? And like you said, money is energy. So, as long as you're touching each person's life, even like one person, and we have to let go. We cannot be controlling or hoarding that money, right? Just letting it go to the universe and do your job, right? Serve, and it will circulate back in some way tenfold, right? So having those
One
small
of my
shifts.
favorite quotes is
Yeah.
from Hello Dolly.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it's when she's trying to get a sign whether or not she should be getting married again, that her dead husband used to say, "Money, pardon the expression, is like manure.
Hmm.
It doesn't do anybody any good unless it's spread around,
Yeah.
helping young things to grow."
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. Yeah, I love that analogy, and I do agree. As long as you're spreading it around, but in a way that's impactful, right? Then you don't have to worry after that, right? So and that's the shift because we focus on, especially with, executive coaching. So some people who are in that corporate mindset, like I need to get that client and hit that goal by the 30 days. Totally fine. You have a good intention and a goal, but also letting it go, like really just serving your mission. What are you here to do? You're just able to help yourself as a coach, touch someone's life and just, go from that mindset. You don't have to worry about how the money is going to come in, when the money is going to come in, right? So it's like these sound small, but it is a big shift for some people who have struggled with all of
It
this,
is.
right? So just taking little steps at
And
a time.
ultimately, it's about your why.
Exactly.
Why do you want this money?
Right. Exactly. So I
And
always ask that.
why have you set that goal?
Yeah.
What's it gonna do for you?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it could be just maybe it's not for you, maybe it's for your mom, for your dad, and they're important to you, right? It could be just an emotional driver or, you want to help charity. I don't know what that is, right? So it
Right.
really looking at, like you said, your why and why did you start coaching in the first place, right?
Mhm.
So, and I think with entrepreneurship, you have the freedom to think about these things. It's not like corporate where, yes, entrepreneur, you don't might not have the stability as a founder. And I want to say that as a founder, you might not have proper investors, but it all goes back to knowing that why. And that's what motivates you.
And sometimes making sure you know that why it's going to get you out of a bad situation faster.
Exactly.
Because if you're doing this because you need to make your boss happy and you need to make your boss happy because he makes you miserable if he's not, and wait a minute, should I be working for this company?
Right, right. Exactly. Exactly. So, absolutely. So, going into what would that one startup myth? So, advice for founders. The one startup myth do you most want to dismantle? What would that be?
A startup myth
Yeah.
that you can do it all by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
You need resources,
Yeah.
you need team members, you need good support around you,
Mhm.
and you need luck.
Oh
Do
my
not
God. That's
discount
good.
how much luck is involved in entrepreneurship.
I love you said that because I was just thinking about that too. It's like the right people, the right timing. Because I've struggled, right? That because I didn't have the support, and you don't always find the right investors at the right time. But to your point, luck is a huge factor in a lot of things, right? So sometimes it might just not be your time, but rather just like giving up, just keep trying, right? Just putting a small thing out there, even if it's like writing a newsletter or just reaching out to have like even if you have a coffee chat, it might not be the right timing now or a client, but 5 months later, it just might show up, right? Your luck could be there. So, absolutely, I do agree with the whole luck thing, though. I do absolutely agree with that. So, amazing. And yes, let's go into the rapid fire round. It's going to be a little bit about the founder piece. So, let's see. So, the first thing you notice when a founder walks into the room.
Their body language.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Confidence, presence, energy, that just speaks volumes,
Yeah.
right? So,
Whether they're
more than
hesitant, whether their clothes are disheveled.
yeah, more than what you do, it's just really the conviction behind it, right? And that's so important as a founder and entrepreneur. So we want to make sure we also think about those things, right? So, okay, so coffee meeting, pitch stage, or whiteboard jam session, what do you feel more called or drawn to?
Oh, a coffee meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Chill, casual, relax, which is great. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to look into a business buzzword you would happily retire forever.
I don't understand the question. What
So,
buzzword I don't ever want to hear again?
yeah, yeah, basically.
Probably disruption.
Same here. Any disruption tech,
Yeah,
AI,
yeah,
all of those things,
breaking something for the sake of breaking it is not
right?
necessarily a good idea.
Yeah, those buzzwords, we're not talking about that here. Those are somewhere else. So I love that. If startup life had a theme song, what vibe would it be? Interesting.
That's funny because I think my own theme song is "I Wanna Be Sedated" every day. Yeah.
I love that. Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes it feels that way.
Or, a good positive startup theme song would be "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow."
Yes, that's lovely. I love that. Yes, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Yes, amazing. And one thing people assume about you that's completely wrong.
Um, that boring?
That's
No,
why.
before I made it outwardly apparent, that was the biggest thing people
Yeah,
underestimated me. They didn't realize I actually knew how to crash 3 different kinds
right.
of computers. They didn't
Oh,
expect me to have some tech expertise. They never would have expected to know that I made documentary films or that I held a Nobel Prize in my own hand or I've
amazing.
had some adventures, the likes of which you've no idea.
Yes, I want to learn more about. You're fun. Yeah, like I think I'm the boring one now on this one. No, I mean we're gonna have a chat after this. Like,
Right.
I need to be more fun like you. Yeah, I need that more in my life. So,
Mm,
yeah, I mean, I'm glad you shared that. And that's a good question.
okay.
Amazing. So, what's next for you? Any new programs, initiatives? I know you also host a podcast, so love for you to share.
I hope to get PitchSTL set up so that it can live on its own without me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of those things with anytime you're working in a not-for-profit, job number 1 is to find your replacement.
Right.
So that I really wanna do. I want to get at least one family member to come with me to Alaska this summer, and then I will have visited all 50 states.
Oh, wow. Congrats. All 50 states. Oh my God. I don't think I've have seen like half of
Right.
it.
And the coolest thing, the first time I went cross country, it was paid for by PBS Interactive. I
Oh,
I
wow.
I decided I wanted to go cross country and I pitched, "Can I go do something every place we stop and send it back to you guys?" Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Oh
fun.
my god, you're so much fun, adventurous, and yeah, I need to learn from you,
Yeah.
like, kudos
If
to
you
you.
don't ask, the answer's no. If you can say yes to something, why not?
Yes, I know. I really hope you get a family member to come, or I'll come. I'm, like, waiting to go to
Okay.
Alaska, so I'm all in. Wow, this is great. So happy for you and so
Thank
excited for
you.
you. Just, like, checking off every single, thing on your bucket
Oh,
list.
well, when the list gets short, I add more things.
Yeah, exactly. There's tons of things you can keep adding, so I love that. I love that.
Right. The sad thing, my husband kind of finished everything on his bucket list and then he died.
Oh, but
I'm
at
not
least
ready for that. So,
yeah. Yeah, you should go for everything on your list, right? And I'm gonna be rooting for you.
and keep adding to it. There's always going to be
Yeah.
something else. Oh, hey, maybe I should do that.
Yes, I love your vibe. I just love how positive you are. It's very inspiring. So, Mary, what I appreciate most about this conversation is how grounded it is in reality, right? So, you know how to jive and have fun, but it's also super grounded. It's so important as a founder, right? To be super like successful and thriving. So, momentum isn't magic, it's engineered, right? So, ideas don't fail because they lack brilliance, they fail because execution stalls, fear, or founders isolate instead of accessing the right rooms and networking and talking to the right people, right? So, for everyone listening, here's the question. So, are you protecting your idea or pressure testing it? Are you waiting for certainty or building traction? Right? Because traction rewards movement. So, this conversation aligns deeply with the work I do through Sovereign Align, helping founders and leaders align identity, conviction, and strategies so their execution feels grounded, not frantic. So, when mindset and mechanics move together, momentum compounds. Right. So, Mary, thank you for bringing both scrappy realism and expansive belief to founders who need both. And to every founder listening, you don't need a perfect plan at all. So we're not talking about perfection. You need the next clear move. And hopefully you can make it happen this week. So thank you, everyone.